Alrighty, guys. It is 3:30. It's Monday, February 24th, and man, do we have a uh, kind of a rough day, right? Looks like we had a pretty good shot at retracing a bit, but remember in the last update I talked about I did not quite believe the little retracement it has in slowly grinding back up after this big sell-off. So this morning, the way we talked about it is didn't have much news to drive the market today. They didn't do much of anything. The big question was really, are we going to get continuation to the downside, or are we going to get are we going to kind of hold here, maybe start seeing retracement? Looks like the selling is continuing, and we have been all the way down here at the 59.90s before they finally found support to 59, 1995s here. Before they found support, that was getting really gnarly. Down below the 6,015 to 20, the 15 to 40s, that was a pretty good, the good support there, and that needed to hold. But they blew through that thing right from the get-go this morning, absolutely nailed it. So this overnight was just pretty much a retracement based on the sell-off on Friday, a little small little retracement, and I think we didn't get much strength to get short against. We talked about the above the 65. We were looking for potential retracement to the upside, but we didn't even get up to the 65. So they popped a little bit and then started hammering it and then absolutely nailed it. So to the downside, so far they got up to the 45s. So this back in reverse retesting this support resistance area was support. Now it's resistance as they took it out. And on the way back, now not been able to clear it. They were up to the upper edge at the 45s, but could not get higher than that. So we are pointed lower. And I think at this point the next leg lower, we are trading just at this little attractor thing at the 6,015s. If they trade below it and start heading lower, next stop is that the 59.50s, that area, that's a tractor area right there. That's kind of where they are going to go next. So we'll see how bad this is going to get. It's not pulling back a whole lot. I mean, you've seen they were up at the 61.50s, they're down at the 150, 170 points, or 200, well, maybe 200 points to the downside. So in the bigger scheme of things, this is not a big pull up. It feels very dramatic though, because some of the big tech stocks who's been trading higher is absolutely getting creamed. I'm watching the Palantir stock, it's down like $10 again today. So they were up at 1/3 at the 120, like they're down like $30 in a couple of sessions. So that's pretty violent. But then again, so extended stocks get pulled back pretty hard. But this early on today, I was saying I tried that short trade early on this morning on the ES. Had 3 trades going today. The first trade, they pulled back, looking for a retracement or a retest of the lows. Did not work out. Two contracts. Yeah, so maybe do this like so. There you go. Come on. Okay, leave it like that. So here you see it pretty clearly. So I took a short trade on the way up here. Did not work out. Got stopped out. I was down $77 on that trade. I tried one more trade at the upper edge of this when they started trading higher, shorted that thing. And for a small scalp, reverse retest to that level. And this happened to be a 2 contract trade. So I got back like a good chunk of it. I was down 10 after that. And I tried one more short trade. After this failed up here, I wasn't going to be that aggressive about it. But I was looking at it. This a potential short up here. We talked about that in the last update. And if you were going to do that, you had to be prepared to sit in a trade up here. How you stop outside that rotation and hope for the best. They didn't get totally crushed. At this point, they never extended further. They started heading lower, and after that first little rundown here on the way up, looks pretty gnarly, right? You had to kind of sell into that, and have you stop on the outside, and then watch it and see if they how far they're going to take it. So I was going to repair it here at the tablet at the 45s. And if they took it out, I was just going to be wrong again. But it turned out I was actually right on that trade. And I was a little bit, as soon as I went in, in a positive territory, got my commissions back at 750. I just got out of it because they're kind of reverse retesting that support there again. And I figured, okay, if you're going to be rotation up, I may get stopped out. So they took it a little bit lower, and I wasn't going to be that cute about it. There's no reason to try to be that cute about the whole thing. So on the way down here, headed lower, and so far they ran it all the way down to the 6,015, 20s here. So they're down in that lower support area, and we'll see if it's going to hold or not. If it comes out, we're definitely going to stay on the short side. If they trade up above this, we may start off range bound. I'm just going to see you see that M and N print here at the 1920s. If they trade below that print and close below it, I'm going to definitely be on the short side of this. I would start range bound with a slight bias to the downside if they close above it. If it's below it, I'm going to just straight with a short bias. So 3 trades on the ES today. Started with a loser, made it back. I'm up 750 and 5 round turns. So that's pretty much paying commission. So pretty much a break-even day. So there you go. So I stopped trading at that. It was just too volatile. There's no point of being too cute about it. But in the afternoon, volatility kind of backed off a bit and it made it a little bit more tradable. And you can see how that resistance there at the 45s held 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. And in this area here, they just have to be a little bit cautious of being aggressive, too aggressive, because when they start building value like that, they could just as well start trading higher. But given the sell-off this morning and that little grind back up again, I mean, you can see how this move back up here after the sell-off, this slow move back up here wasn't really convincing. You can see how the net delta is still going negative. So people are still selling into a little bit of covering at the end. But he says not enough for this to turn into an up day. So not surprising that we got some weakness going into the afternoon. They close. Let's see where they end up in the actual close. So if they close above this area, I would say the 6,020s, I would start off range bound with a slight bias to the downside. If it close below it, it's flat out short side of the market, right? On the Nasdaq and the bonds, bond market just rotated back up again and has since not done much. It ran up to the 1608 high volume area. They're right trading right there. It's pretty uncanny how well that works. They're right to the high volume area stalls and that's it. So I haven't traded the bonds, but it ran up here this morning, backs off, and then just going sideways back and forth. So I would start range bound on the bonds at this point and adjust these edges a bit. If it starts trading above that 116.16, stay hop on the long side, and we may be heading higher. We may be trading higher if the market's going to take head a little bit lower. And then Nasdaq has not been able to get up above this 650 area. So they're all the way down here, building value around the 21.5s. They're right back in that lower range again. So that's ugly. Ugly, ugly, ugly. But there you go. So Nasdaq pulling back hard. That was up at 22,200. So down at 20, it's like 700-800 points to the downside. That's pretty good. So Nasdaq is really taking the brunt of this sell-off. But they're right down in this lower area of volume. So they probed this lower edge, the 400s. It held, traded back up. But at this point, I would start off with a slight bias to the downside. They haven't been able to trade up above the 660. So starting off from the short side, see if they can retest this low, maybe take it lower. And then we'll see. So looking for short setups against that 580s and the 660s for rotations back down. And if they trade up above the 660s, we may have a shot at retracing a little bit, but I would not unless they can get up above this area, the 21,800s again. Nothing's going to happen. They're going to stay in this lower range. So we'll see. There may be more weakness to come and going into the end of the month. Remember, this is the end of February. Is going to be the end, or end of this week is going to be the end of the February trading month. So it could very well be that this is like the profit taking going into the end of February. Who knows? But at this point, starting off on the short side on the Nasdaq, I have not traded the Nasdaq. It's been absolutely too volatile to trade today. And I had to be proud of myself, not trying to mess with it, because sometimes I get too excited and I had to get in on it and hit the crap. It's really a crapshoot because you can be right on the direction on the Nasdaq. You get shaken out and it goes in your favor and you just get frustrated. You try it again, it happens again, and you sit there. You be right twice and you lost money every time. It's like, are you kidding me? That kind of thing. So that's rough. That is very rough. Anyway, looking at the oil and gold. And you can see gold is dying off, but they're to the upside. I haven't. This morning there was a pretty hard sell-off on gold. They took it all the way down here to support at 29.48, a little bit lower, and then it's been slowly grinding back up again. So yeah, and they started off with a test at 72. So I would look for a retest at that high, maybe even higher, going into the overnight. Looks to me like they knocked it down the first time to it. I'm looking for a retest of that level. And if that happens and they take it out, well, they are heading higher. So 3,000 is getting pretty darn close. So let's see how far they can take it. So I would trade this from the long side at this point, given where they are. I'm going to buy against the 64s. Well, I'm going to maybe adjust a bit 65s and then down to the 59, 60s for rotations back up. And below the 60s, that area of support, take off the long bias and go back range bound on gold. Super volatile, not worth trading. I mean, you can see this is the sell-off this morning. Beautiful retest failure. If you try to take that failure to take it higher, look at how violent that was on the way down. That would have been beautiful. Anyway, and oil not going anywhere much. Not much to say about this guy. Just going sideways, pretty light volume. So range bound oil at this point. If anything, I would maybe look for a retest of the high, this 70-80s, maybe the 71-12s. But it's not. I would try to get short against resistance at 70-80, 71, 10 to 15, up to that level, 71-60s for rotations back down. Above 71-60s, we take off the short bias and go back more range bound. But there we have it. So oil going to slowly be grinding lower. So far, yes, 3 trades on the ES. Started off with a loser, smack in my face, and then I got 2 winners after that, and made my money back and a few bucks to pay for commissions. And that's it for me. So I was smart enough not to try to be too cute about it, but once you're back on track, kind of have to take it for what it is. But it looks to me like they're going to try to take this lower. I mean, I'm not seeing the strength I would like to see, so they may very well be pushing this lower. So we'll leave it there. I'll see you back I'll see you back bright and early in the morning. It's last update. So have a good evening, guys. And I'll see you in the morning. Later.